Hello friends, welcome to my kitchen. First, we're going to start with the potatoes. I have 4 large potatoes here, and we're going to cut them into small pieces. This way, they'll cook evenly and faster. I'm so glad you could join me today. We're going to make a delicious and hearty meal that's perfect for a cozy family dinner. Crispy chicken rolls with creamy mashed potatoes. It's a simple dish, but it's packed with flavor, and I'm sure your family will love it as much as mine does. Friends, please write in the comments, what country and city are you from? It's very nice to know that we can communicate all over the world. Now let's place these potato pieces into a saucepan. We're going to cover them with water, just enough to submerge the potatoes completely. Then cover the pan with a lid and bring it to a boil. Once the water starts boiling, add a pinch of salt to enhance the flavor as they cook. We'll let these simmer until they're tender, about 10 to 15 minutes. You can check if they're done by poking them with a knife. If the knife goes through easily, they're ready. Now that our potatoes are cooked, we'll drain the water and mash them into a smooth puree. While they're still warm, I'm going to add 2 ounces or 60 grams of butter. The butter melts beautifully into the potatoes, making them rich and creamy. To make our mashed potatoes even creamier, I'm adding 1/4 to half a glass of milk. You can adjust the amount based on how thick or thin you like your mashed potatoes. Let's mash that in as well. Now grate 2 ounces or 60 grams of Parmesan cheese. If you have any questions about the recipe, write to me and I will answer as soon as I see it in the comments. For an extra touch of flavor, we're adding Parmesan cheese into our mashed potatoes. It adds a lovely, slightly nutty taste to our side dish. Give it one last mix, and there we have it, creamy, cheesy mashed potatoes. Set that aside, and let's move on to the chicken. Now we have our chicken breasts, 4 large ones. We're going to start by taking 2 at a time to make it easier to handle. Cut them in half lengthwise to create 2 large steaks from each breast. This will give us nice, even pieces to work with. Once you have your steaks, cover them with cling film and give them a gentle beating. This not only tenderizes the meat, but also helps it cook more evenly. Friends, I'd be happy if you could give this video a like, as it's the best reward from you. And don't forget, we want our steaks to be rectangular, so trim off any uneven edges. Now let's season our chicken with a bit of salt, about half a teaspoon. And black pepper. The simple seasoning will enhance the flavor without overpowering the dish. Friends, if you enjoy my content, subscribe to the channel to receive notifications about new similar recipes. Now place 2 strips of bacon on each chicken steak. Next, finely chop 1 sprig of rosemary. And sprinkle it over the bacon. Then add a few small sprigs of thyme. These herbs give the chicken a wonderful aromatic flavor. Now, carefully roll each steak into a neat little roll. Once your rolls are ready, transfer them to a plate where it's easier to work with them. We're going to prick 2 rolls onto 2 skewers. This helps them stay secure and makes them easier to handle while cooking. With our chicken securely on the skewers, let's cut them into even pieces, just as I'm showing you here. This way, they'll cook perfectly on all sides. Now let's heat up a little olive oil in a frying pan. We're going to fry these chicken rolls for 2 to 3 minutes on each side, just to give them a nice golden brown color. This step also helps lock in all those wonderful flavors. look at that beautiful color. Once they're nicely browned, we'll transfer them to a baking dish. But first, line your dish with parchment paper to prevent sticking. Before we bake our chicken, let's prepare a quick and easy sauce. In a small bowl, mix together 1 tablespoon of mustard and 1 tablespoon of ketchup, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, This sauce adds a tangy and savory glaze to our chicken rolls. Using a brush, generously spread this sauce over the chicken rolls. It will give them a delicious glaze as they bake. Now into the oven they go. We'll bake them at 360 degrees Fahrenheit or 180 degrees Celsius for 20 minutes. Our chicken rolls are almost ready. They've been baking for about 20 minutes and they smell amazing. It's time to take them out of the oven. Now, carefully remove the rolls from the skewers. Look at that. They're perfectly cooked, tender on the inside, with a lovely crispy exterior. Let's add a generous serving of our creamy mashed potatoes on the side. For a fresh finishing touch, sprinkle some chopped green onions over the mashed potatoes. It adds a bit of color and a mild onion flavor that complements the dish beautifully. This is absolutely delicious. The chicken is juicy, the bacon adds a nice smoky flavor, and the herbs make it so fragrant. Paired with the creamy mashed potatoes, it's a perfect, comforting meal. But that is not all. Don't turn off the video. I have a second equally delicious recipe for you. Take 4 eggs and break them into a bowl. Add a half of a teaspoon of salt, a half of a teaspoon of black pepper, and a half of a teaspoon of oregano. Stir everything together until well combined. Next, take 6 potatoes. And cut them into rings. My family absolutely loves this casserole. The mix of flavors and textures, along with the cheesy goodness, makes it a dish they ask for over and over again. It's a comfort food that brings us all together around the dinner table. Heat some olive oil in a frying pan over medium heat. fry the potatoes until they are golden brown. Add a half of a teaspoon of salt, and a half of a teaspoon of black pepper. This initial frying gives the potatoes a lovely crispiness. Once they are done, transfer the potatoes to a bowl. And pour the egg mixture over them. Finally, chop a small bunch of green onions. And stir everything together. This will give our dish a nice fresh taste. Take a baking dish and grease it with olive oil to prevent sticking. Place half of the potato mixture in an even layer at the bottom of the dish. Now, take a wheel of Swiss cheese, cut it in half, and grate one half. Sprinkle the grated cheese over the potatoes. Now heat some olive oil in a frying pan over medium heat. finely chop 1 white onion. Add it to the pan. Sauté the onion until it's translucent. Grate 2 cloves of garlic. Add them to the pan with the onion. Next, take 6 to 8 strips of bacon and cut them into smaller pieces. Add them to the frying pan. Once the bacon is starting to crisp up, cut 2 chicken breasts into small cubes. and add them to the pan as well. Fry everything together until the chicken is cooked through. Chicken and pineapple are such a fantastic combination. The savory, tender chicken pairs beautifully with the sweet, juicy pineapple, creating a delightful burst of flavors in every bite. All over the world, especially in tropical countries and regions, people love experimenting with unique flavor combinations. This dish is a perfect example of that wonderful culinary creativity. Take 4 rings of canned pineapple and cut them into small pieces. I prefer canned pineapple rings because they are juicier and add a lovely sweetness to the dish. Add the pineapple pieces to the pan with the chicken and bacon. Pour in 7 fluid ounces, or 200 milliliters of tomato sauce. And season with 1 teaspoon of salt. One teaspoon of black pepper. And 1 teaspoon of oregano. Let this mixture simmer for about 10 minutes, allowing all the flavors to meld together beautifully. Now, take the chicken and vegetable mixture and spread it evenly over the potatoes and cheese in the baking dish. Grate the remaining half of the Swiss cheese. And sprinkle half of it over the chicken layer. place the remaining potato mixture on top. And then sprinkle with the rest of the Swiss cheese. For an extra cheesy touch, grate 4 ounces or 120 grams of Parmesan cheese. And sprinkle it on top as well. This combination of cheeses will create a wonderful, gooey topping. Preheat your oven to 360 degrees Fahrenheit or 180 degrees Celsius. Place the casserole in the oven and bake for 30 minutes until the top is golden brown and bubbly. While our casserole is baking, let's make a simple and delicious sauce. In a small bowl, mix 4 ounces or 120 grams of Greek yogurt, 1 tablespoon of mayonnaise, and 1 tablespoon of ketchup. Grate 1 pickled cucumber, and also add it to the sauce. Finely chop a small bunch of parsley. And stir it into the mixture. This sauce will add a fresh, tangy flavor to our casserole and complement the richness of the cheese and chicken. Once the casserole is done baking, take it out of the oven and let it cool slightly. This cooling time allows the cheese to form a nice, crispy crust. Cut the casserole into 12 servings. To serve, place a portion on a plate and add a dollop of our homemade sauce on the side. Thank you so much for joining me today. This casserole is a favorite in my family, and I hope it becomes a favorite in yours too. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more delicious and healthy recipes. See you next time, and happy cooking!